What's up, everyone, and welcome into episode number 551, where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a special guest joining this episode, and that is Michigan triathlete Daniel Smith. How are you doing, Daniel?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Yeah, no, glad that you're able to join. How's things been going? I know that you're obviously trying to prepare for nationals in March and kind of really stepping up the training a little bit. So hopefully things are going well.
Yeah, things have been going well. My fitness has definitely been increasing the last month or so. Had a great block in January of lots of swimming. And so definitely have been increasing the fitness there, but also even swim and bike. Looking forward to nationals in March.
Which is your like favorite like event of the three? Obviously, triathlon, biking, running, swimming. Which do you enjoy the most? And obviously, kind of being winter time, you might spend a little bit more time with the swimming and running than maybe like the biking that you can do outside.
Yeah, for sure. I would say I actually like the biking the most, so that kind of
Okay.
the hard in the winter just because not get outside as much, and that's when I like it most. So we definitely do some indoor riding, and I still enjoy that, but just not quite as much. So I would say in the winter, I kind of enjoy the running more, just
Okay.
being able to get outside and do that. So I think just being able to be outside is huge, and so that's why I enjoy it mostly during the winter time. But
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of a difference trying to bike outside than running outside in the winter. Like that's obviously something that you prefer to do, but obviously with nationals coming up, it's something that you kind of just have to deal with, right? Like you just need to make sure you're kind of in the best possible shape for all events. And obviously being from Michigan and in Michigan, there's that little like winter that kind of might affect it a little bit.
yeah, for sure, I think it can be hard mentally, and I think that's like, but it helps you when it comes to racing. Then being able to come over those hard mental feats in terms of when you're racing. So I think biking inside, doing those types of things, help you overcome things when it comes to racing. Then in March.
Do you think triathlon is more mentally or physically difficult, or does it truly kind of depend on the length? Because I know there's different lengths when it comes to triathlon.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think it's both mentally and physically hard, but I think it can depend on what distance you're doing. So,
Okay.
um, I would say the longer distances are definitely mentally harder, because you're just kind of out there, no music, nothing for hours on end. So that can get mentally hard.
Yeah.
And then the shorter distance, I would say it's kind of very physically taxing in the sense of going all out.
Okay.
Your body is kind of going all out for an hour to 2 hours. So
Yeah. And you mentioned no music. Do you train without music either? And is that pretty kind of difficult? Because for a lot of people that want to run, that want to bike, they truly feel like they kind of might have to listen to music to kind of get through the workout. But there's a little bit of a mental toughness that you have to have if you're not listening to music because that's just kind of the way it is.
yeah, I mean, I train both with music and without. I think I kind of grew up a runner, and so I like running outside, and I didn't really grow up listening to music while I was running, and so
Okay.
I think like I don't struggle with it necessarily in races,
Yeah.
whereas some people who are used to training with it all the time struggle with it. But I think I can train with or without, and then also be able to race just fine. So I think it is kind of personnel based.
Yeah. And you said you grew up running. Did you ever imagine yourself being a triathlete? And just how did you kind of get into a triathlon?
Yeah, so I kind of just grew up a runner because my dad and older brother did lots of running, and so then I did see myself doing triathlon because my older brother he got into triathlon when he was in college also, and so I would say I kind of saw myself leaning towards wanting to do that as I got older, just because I knew it was something I could do when I was older, and he kind of inspired me in that way. So I expected that I would be doing triathlons in my future for sure.
And obviously, growing up running, it kind of helps translate to a few of the events they do in a triathlon. But what was it like when you kind of transitioned to triathlon and you really had to get into the pool because you didn't really have a ton of like background when it came to like competing swimming?
Yeah, that definitely is the hardest part for a lot of people as they're getting into triathlon is the swimming, I would say. And so I think just kind of getting used to the water, like getting in the water as often as possible, try to train it every day, even if it's just for a little bit of time. Getting comfortable in open water because we swim in lakes usually.
Yeah.
So getting in a lake often to swim. It was definitely hard, but I think just building up slowly and just trying. Really, one thing I did was like instead of pretending you're going to be in the water for 5 minutes going all out, try to see how slow you can go for an hour so that you just become comfortable in the water. So then once you're comfortable, you can start working on trying to get faster.
Yeah, and then obviously when you kind of started your triathlon journey, like you were probably doing a little bit more of like the sprint triathlons, like kind of working your way into being a triathlete. And then obviously as you continue to get more experience, you started to kind of do the longer events. What's your favorite length of triathlon that you've done so far? Just how fast do you kind of progress in triathlon as an athlete?
Yeah, I would say the half Ironman distance is probably my favorite race that I've done so far. Um, I've only done 4 half Ironmans and 1 full, so those are the longer distance ones. Um, and then, yeah, I started with sprint distance, and I really enjoy that distance also. I think it's kind of fun to challenge your body for an all-out 1 hour,
Yeah.
race. And then the Olympic distance is, in between, so that's, like, shorter, it's about 2 hours
Okay.
long, shorter, but the comparative to the Ironmans. And so I'm not really a huge fan of that distance just because swimming is my weak point, and actually the swimming percentage is bigger in that one, and so it's just I don't enjoy it as much. But it actually, Olympic level or distance is what our regular college level, like that's what we normally race. So
Hey, you'll definitely be tested at that point. You know that you really have to kind of spend a decent amount of time in the pool because obviously you want to make sure that like everything that you have, like you're obviously going to have a quote unquote like weaker event. Like not everyone's going to have like great events or not everyone's going to be like at the same level, but like kind of having that type of triathlon that's kind of like what you're going to be and had been competing in college that is going to push you at maybe at a weaker point. That's definitely probably motivating as well to spend a little bit more time in knowing that, hey, like I need to get good at this section if I want to do well in college.
yeah, for sure. I think nationals each year has pushed me to do that. I kind of really focus December, January on that swim to get better at the swimming part because I know that's going to challenge me at nationals because that's the distance we're working on. So definitely is motivating and kind of pushes your mental limits also.
Exactly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you obviously had a little bit of experience with triathlon before college. How much did you like really like practice? How much did you really compete in it? And really, how different was it once you got to Michigan and started to really kind of train with a team rather than training by yourself?
Yeah, I did my first triathlon when I think I was 9 years old, just doing sprint distance, short distances, and really it was kind of just for fun. I knew I liked running, and my brother kind of motivated me through doing it when he was in just out of college, and so
Yeah.
at that point, it was kind of just doing it for fun. I didn't really specifically train for it. And then once I turned 18, I was pretty much training every day and have trained every day since then. And then once I got to Michigan, I think just the difference was being able to train with the team like 4 to 6 times a week,
Yeah.
and then just having a group of people to go on a longer bike or longer run on the weekends. I think that really helped improve me as well as the swimming part since it's been a struggle. A
Yeah.
lot of people on our team were high school swimmers. And so that definitely pushed me swimming next to people who were better than me.
Do you think kind of being a part of a team was really kind of what changed for you when you kind of like switched from just doing it for fun to really wanting to be at a competitive level? Because you kind of knew joining the team at Michigan, it wasn't just for quote unquote fun of it. Like you knew there's a little bit of that competitive background that you needed to have going into it.
Yeah, for sure. I think naturally I always had a competitive like edge, but I think going in to having a team that you compete with kind of every day at practice helps push you, and then also just the camaraderie around it, I think made it even more fun, even though it was for a more competitive thing.
Yeah, and sometimes you need that competitive feel, right? Like for a lot of like high school athletes going into college, you don't really have that competitive feel, that team around you unless you join a team, unless you do a club, unless you play a sport in college. You kind of lose that. But for a lot of people, kind of that in itself can truly push you. And obviously being a triathlete, like it's going to make you to be not only in great shape, but even better shape than when you walked in at Michigan.
Yeah, for sure. I would 100% agree with that. I think a lot of people going high school to college, if you don't continue to do a sport or continue to work out or have a team or club to join, it can be hard to continue to stay in shape and stay competitive.
What do you think has been kind of the hardest aspect of being a triathlete at Michigan, though? Is it the training? Is it kind of like the mental side? Is it just how much kind of time and effort it takes? Or is there really not kind of a hard aspect because you kind of had a little bit of like training almost every single day going into Michigan?
Yeah, I would say the hardest aspect really could be the long hours of just trying to put in longer rides on the weekend. I think just being able to study and train at the same time, as well as joining other like clubs or different things in college. Like, I think it was just finding time to be able to train and doing it at the right times was probably the hardest aspect in college. I think obviously like the hardest aspect of triathlon for me was the swimming. But in terms of just in college, I think was the long hours trying to find time to train.
And I'm sure it's gotten a little bit easier as like you kind of gotten used to it, kind of got a schedule. But obviously, like again, we're kind of to a point of the year where like you truly have to like lock in and prepare for nationals. And really, if you want to do well, you have to put in the hours and hours and hours to be successful.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely become easier just learning what hours I can train and kind of like how much I can put in to triathlon over school or school over triathlon, like how much I want to put forth in the time. And I think, yeah, this time of year, I definitely do a little bit more. And I think just learning throughout the years has helped.
And speaking of training, what's been either your favorite or your most dreaded workout you've had to do at Michigan?
I think it's kind of the same. So I think um, I dread this workout, but also it's can be my favorite. So it's usually our Monday night track workout. So these are pretty fast runs. And it's just fun because if you get a group of guys to be able to come together and do the workout together, I think it's a lot of fun. You get competitive, you get faster, you get better at that mental capacity. I think it really is a hard run, and so that's why I dread it, like, just getting
Yeah.
myself to go there, and do it. It's always gonna be a hard workout, but then it ends up being fun because you got a group of guys doing it together, so it's makes it fun.
Yeah, and then you, like you said, you get to do it with a bunch of guys, with a bunch of teammates that like truly obviously builds chemistry, but gets you get better as well. Like, what is it like being on the team, like the kind of like chemistry that you guys have? Because it's almost kind of like everyone's going through the same like workout, everyone's kind of doing the same thing, even though it's not necessarily the most fun. You obviously help each other to get through these workouts that you guys go through.
Yeah, I think a team in any sport really just having that chemistry helps you get through hard workouts. And I think um, even if there's like guys on the sidelines, guys running right next to you, like I think just encouraging each other is always helpful. And I think that's helped as well as just pushing each other has helped.
Yeah, which obviously everyone's goal is to probably go to nationals, compete at nationals. How fun or what is the event like at nationals and just how different is it compared to every other race that you've been in?
Yeah, nationals is it's definitely different. There's usually like 1,000 plus athletes there, and it's 2 days of racing. The first day is only the like top 50 athletes in the US pretty much at the college level.
Okay.
And that's a sprint distance. And then the next day is an Olympic distance, and that's where pretty much anyone can race, like anyone on the team.
Yeah.
So that's a big race, and then after that is a mixed team relay later in the day, and so that's also fun. It's kind of a new race that they started at the Olympic level, I believe in 2016 or maybe
Okay.
2012 or something. Two guys and two girls race a sprint distance relay. So it's a lot of fun. It's 1,000 plus college kids coming together to do the same race, encouraging each other. And the first day, even though it's more competitive, um, everyone else there that's there for the next day of racing, like, is cheering you on. So it's
Yeah.
just a lot of like fun and people there. Whereas kind of just going to like a regular one, there's not so many people. It's a little more laid back, and this is just kind of more upscale and just a lot of people there making it more fun. And you get to even like you see other teams from even California or New York or all over. And so I think it just kind of builds the world of triathlon community.
Yeah, it's probably allowed you to get to know other teams, other people that compete as well, and like just kind of obviously again grow that network of people that do triathlon. I know that you obviously have a goal kind of going forward when it comes to like future goals of triathlon after Michigan. But before we get to that point, that has to be a ton of fun working with a few of your teammates to kind of do that. And be more of a team. I know it's kind of like obviously you want the team to do well overall, but like that's kind of like a team versus compared to when you're competing at nationals by yourself.
Yeah, the relay is a lot of fun. I think anyone who competes in it says that like that's the most fun race they've ever done. And at first, I wasn't really sure about it when I first tried it, but I think it's a lot of fun just because you get to cheer on the other teammates in it. And like say you had maybe a bad swim or something, your teammate can pick it up for you by doing better,
Yeah.
or just it's it's kind of just a different feel, and it has the same feel of everyone on the sidelines kind of cheering you on. So I think it's different and it's a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do really hope that Nationals goes well for you this year. Obviously, you're still working your way to March to get to that point. But I do want to ask one last question before we kind of start to wrap up with like future goals, like any advice. What's been kind of the craziest experience you've had being a triathlete? It could be through a practice, could be through a competition, just anything that you've experienced that you're like either that was really cool, that was really different, I don't ever want to experience that again, just any crazy experience you've ever had.
Yeah, I think doing the full Ironman was definitely a crazy experience. Just like the ups and downs throughout the day because it's 10 hours long, and
Yeah,
so um, I think like there it was so many ups and downs and just crazy feelings that I felt through those 10 hours. Um, and so I would say that like altogether is one of the craziest things I've done in triathlon. And it was also like at the end, it was like, oh, that was so hard, but also like I want to do it again.
yeah.
Like, so that's why I think it was like crazy fun, but at the same time super hard and challenging. So I would say that that's definitely one of the craziest things. Other than that, I think uh, we've done some pretty crazy team like relays in in the water, swimming. We've done like different floaty and backward strokes and different stuff that we've done that's kind of crazy, but just makes it fun, makes the team
Yeah.
more fun doing silly things like that. Or at nationals, like I know against other teams in between days, we did like a banana eating contest or something like something crazy like
Something
that.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, little things like that have kind of just been crazy. And then maybe like one specific story at my conference race this last year. I think it's always crazy when people can come off the bike like 5, 6, 7 minutes down from like first, second, or third place,
Yeah.
and then run that all the way back. And I've done that the last year, 2 years at my conference championship race. So this year it was even kind of crazier because I had like passed 4 or 5 guys, and then I got sick. I like threw up. I was super just exhausted.
Yeah.
And then those guys like had just passed me and I passed them right back. So that was kind of like a crazy experience. I was just able to go that mentally deep and like sprint to the finish and pass them back. So I think stuff like that is also from watching other competitors do that. I think that's some of the craziest stuff I've seen.
Yeah, that has to be a little bit of like a prideful moment that like not only like you came back from being that far down, but kind of like rallying and like passing them again. And that's going to be has to be one of like the coolest moments and coolest feeling. Probably at the end of the race, probably wasn't feeling necessarily the best, but like looking back on it, it's probably something that you're extremely proud of.
Yeah, for sure. It was, especially because I already wasn't having like that great of a race. And so just being able to get something out of the race and like dig deep and be able to do that was definitely a proud moment for myself.
Yeah, and then for the Ironman as well, like doing the 10 hours, like how can you end that race and just realize like, hey, how difficult that was? But then how can you be like, oh, let's do this again? Because for a lot of people, just doing one is incredible, but like you kind of have to have a different type of mindset to say, hey, let's do this all over again. Like that was fun, but at the same time, that was awful, probably.
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know if I can completely even comprehend it because I think maybe just afterwards I was kind of just in a state of like, I don't know, not necessarily a good mental state. I don't know if it was super hard, but yeah, I think because I am very competitive and like want to get better or do stuff that I thought I could have done better on that day, like I want to
Yeah.
push myself to do better next time. And so I think just that as well as a love for the sport, like just truly being happy when I'm out there and loving the sport, like I think allows me to want to be able to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously that means you're going to kind of continue to do it at Michigan. You're going to kind of continue to do it after Michigan as well. And because of that, like, what's your future goals with triathlon? I know there's the whole idea of turning pro. I know there's a lot that kind of goes into a lot of competitions around there. What are you hoping to kind of like continue after you're done at Michigan?
Yeah, so I definitely am going to continue triathlon after Michigan. And I don't know exactly. I've kind of thought about trying to get my pro license, pro card, and race pro. It's a very difficult thing though because you don't necessarily receive tons of money or anything for going
Yeah.
pro until you're like top 30 in the world, top 50 in the world. And so just getting to that level means spending 20 to 30 hours a week training. And so just doing that and then having a job also, would be really hard. And so
Yeah,
it's kind of whether I want to get my pro license and just race, but not really get much money for it, or really try to go all in and be that top 30, top 50, because then you can actually make a little money out of it. But um, what I do know for sure is that I will definitely be doing probably more half Ironman and Ironman distances because I like the longer distance.
yeah,
And as you get older, I think it's just like naturally, naturally what people tend to do once you get older. And so I think I know for sure I'll be doing more racing of that and hopefully doing better and better, setting more PRs, and whether that leads me to go pro or not, will kind of the future will tell. But um, if I have a good nationals this year and have a good year of racing, it's possible I'll want to get my pro license this upcoming year.
yeah. And I obviously hope you do have a great experience, a great time, just overall do extremely well at nationals this year in the upcoming months. I obviously do hope you continue to do well, eventually maybe get a pro card. I really do wish you the best of luck. Hope things end up going extremely well for you. And I really appreciate you joining, talking a little bit about triathlon, talking a little bit about kind of your experience, how you've gotten here so far, kind of some of your goals going forward. But to wrap it up, what kind of advice would you provide to anyone that wants to get into triathlon? That like they're like it looks fun, like it's something I want to try, but like they're a little like nervous or they don't know exactly where to start.
Yeah, I think there's many people that have said, like that would be cool. I want to try a triathlon, or but they're kind of scared, hesitant to do it. I think my advice would be sign up for a race, um, because then you have to train for it, you have to do it.
Yeah.
But that being said, sign up for like a sprint distance, something short, something that's not going to take up a lot of your time. And really, I think anyone can do it. It's just like getting yourself signed up and then you're going to have to do that training. And so I think also, the hardest part is the swim for a lot of people just because it can be scary going into open water, um, drowning, different stuff like that. So I think,
Yeah.
the biggest thing is kind of just being comfortable getting in the pool, being comfortable getting in water, and just going slow and slowly building that swim. And then once you kind of feel comfortable in the water, I think the rest will come. Biking and running, you'll be able to do it, especially if you can feel comfortable in the water. And so just
Yeah.
I would say people that are looking to get started, sign up for a short race and get comfortable in the water, and you'll be ready to crush it.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those situations that it's more scary to do to kind of sign up for, and then once you kind of do it, it's something that can easily get you hooked, and it's something that a lot of people just continue to do throughout their life. And some people might lead to opportunities down the road. Some people might just do it just for fun. And I know opportunities. So hopefully, you'll get a future. Like I said, being a pro, but I know you're going to continue to put in effort. I know you're going to continue to have goals. I really do hope you're able to achieve them. I hope you're able to have a great nationals coming up, and I really appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule to join. Hopefully, it was worth your time.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for having me on, and I hope the best for the podcast. And I think I will hopefully have a good season, and we'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. And that is a wrap to episode number 551. Thank you again to Daniel for joining, and tune in to the next episode.